Chinese state-owned television aired footage of a high-altitude balloon dropping hypersonic weapons in 2018. The stunning footage displays a high-altitude balloon, not dissimilar from the one that traversed over the United States last week, carrying 3 hypersonic glide vehicles into high altitude and dropping them for testing. Hypersonic glide vehicles are generally launched by rockets in a similar manner to traditional missiles. Upon reaching orbit, however, hypersonic glide vehicles detach from the rocket and fly through the atmosphere using their own momentum. Such weapons are much faster than other missiles while they are in low orbit, but become much slower upon hitting the dense air of the atmosphere, as they have no jets to power them. The 3 hypersonic glide vehicles dropped by the balloon in the footage appear to have been designed to test this phenomenon. Paul Crespo, president of the Center for American Defense Studies, said that the balloon which traversed U.S. airspace this week could absolutely be a dry run for an attack using a balloon-mounted weapon, but that hypersonic missiles would likely not be a first choice for China's communist regime. While China has tested hypersonic missiles launched from balloons in the past, that isn't a likely use for these airships, Paul Crespo said. The biggest threat is sending one or more of these high-altitude balloons over the U.S. with a small nuclear electromagnetic pulse device. Detonated at extremely high altitude, they could knock out power and communications across the U.S., wreaking widespread havoc for a year or more without firing a shot on the ground.
Before I came to office, the story was about how the People's Republic of China was increasing its power and America was failing in the world. Not anymore. Today, we're in the strongest position in decades to compete with China or anyone else in the world. Anyone else in the world. And I'm committed.
It's also laughable, right? As we've had a number of military experts on our show pointing out that we can't even deal right now with Russia. We do not have the capability. We have a military with recruitment levels down to their lowest levels in decades. In what readiness scenario does he think we are ready to attack China? As Colonel Douglas Macgregor said on our show, China will absorb everything we throw at it. So, you know, you have President Biden, you have the Biden administration over the past few hours issuing red alerts about China, warning that now they're witnessing Chinese aircraft over 5 different allied countries right now, surveilling 5 different allied countries, launching warships over the past few hours in provocation in the South China Sea. And of course, all of this tied to the stupid weather balloon story. Biden went on to say that, quote, "Make no mistake, as we made clear last week," referring to the stupid weather balloon, "if China threatens our sovereignty," he says, "we will act to protect our country." So this morning, Seymour Hersh published a new piece of investigative journalism on his own Substack. Like, he's not working at the New Yorker anymore. He's left the New York Times. He's doing this on his own. And it's called How America Took out the Nord Stream pipeline. And in this report, he details down to the exact specifics of how this attack was carried out. This was a major act of international terrorism by the United States. And if anyone did it to us, we would label it as such. So the New York Times called it a mystery, he writes, but the United States executed a covert sea operation that was kept secret until now. The U.S. Navy's Diving and Salvage Center can be found in a location as obscure as it is as its name, down what was once a country lane in rural Panama City, now booming resort city in the southwestern panhandle of Florida, 70 miles south of Alabama border. The center's complex is a nondescript as its location, a drab, concrete post-World War II structure that has the look of a vocational high school on the west side of Chicago. This center has been a training center for highly skilled deep-water divers for decades, who once assigned to American military units worldwide are capable of technical diving to do the good, using C4 explosives to clear harbors and beaches of debris and unexploded ordnance, as well as the bad, like blowing up foreign oil rigs, fouling intake valves for undersea power plants, destroying locks on crucial shipping canals. The Panama City Center, which boasts the second largest indoor pool in America, was the perfect place to recruit the best and the most taciturn graduates of the diving school, who successfully last summer did what they had been authorized to do 260 feet under the surface of the Baltic Sea, which was using these Navy divers operating under the cover of a widely publicized midsummer NATO exercise known as Baltops 22. They planted Under this Baltops 22 in the summer, they planted remotely triggered explosives that 3 months later destroyed 3 of the 4 Nord Stream pipelines, according to a source with direct knowledge of the operational planning.
Is North Korea preparing for war? Once again, the Korean Peninsula is on the tenterhooks. Why is that? Because Kim Jong-un has set out a menacing message. He has ordered the military to bolster its war readiness. Kim says North Korea will expand the scope of its military drills. And he has also asked the military to exhibit matchless military strength. There is little doubt over who these comments are directed at. Of course, South Korea and the US.